So Nicola finds out that the Haulage and the B&B aren't doing very well. They're not doing very well at all. And Ruby basically sets up this robbery for Kev to do because Ruby wants to make Jimmy look bad so that Caleb can buy the Haulage for next to nothing. So she sets Kev up with this robbery job, which Kev does, and now she's using it to blackmail him, saying, oh, we know it was you that hit Billy. But Kev's basically saying that he was trying to protect Caleb. He came because Steve was going to rob the depot, and that's why he hit Billy. So yeah, but Ruby is still using it to blackmail him. So Serena, there's something going on with her because obviously I thought that she might be going to sell charity down the river, and that's why she brought Thea, that copper, back to her house, but it's not. What's basically happened is she's quite friendly with Thea, and Thea wants Serena to help her take him takedown, which, oh my god, to take down the big dog is going to be difficult. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but that is what Thea wants to happen. So, I mean, Serena is playing a very dangerous game with this because, like, if Kim gets any kind of whiff that she's up to this, it's not going to be good for her. Kev tells Vinny the truth about what happened with the boxes and nappies, and he also tells him about Lewis wanting to marry him. And I'm glad that Kev seems to trust Vinny because, honestly, I love Kev and Vinny. I actually really do. So I hope that Vinny helps Kev get out of this somehow. And I do hope that, like Vinny says, he ends up deleting that CCTV because I don't want Kev to get in trouble for it. So Lydia catches Thea, the police officer, in Home Farm, and Graham ends up coming back to deal with it. But with the way that Graham spoke to Thea, I'm convinced that he knows Thea somehow. Well, Dawn and Billy are still trying to get away, and then obviously they end up going with Graham to see Joe with a gun, and Joe says that he's planned this stand do and everything else, but I still genuinely think that, like, Joe knows the plan. I genuinely do. I know that he planned this pigeon shooting and everything, but I genuinely think that he knows the plan 100%. And then we end with Dawn with her hand on the trigger of the gun because her and Billy think that it's a trap too. So will Dawn shoot him? I don't think she will. I don't think she'll go through with it. Ruby is absolutely desperate for Jimmy to give them the haulage, so basically she ends up being like, oh, you can talk to us anytime, we're here for you, all of this. And then he ends up going up there and is like, I wonder what we can do about it. And basically she ends up being like, yep, we will buy it from you. So, like, but Jimmy says that he doesn't want to let it go, but I think he might give it to them because I think he will think about it. I didn't think she was going to pull the trigger. I kind of knew that she wasn't going to hurt him. I said this yesterday. But honestly, I don't think that Joe has a clue. I'm not sure if he is just playing along or if he has a clue or what about what the plan is, because obviously he gives Dawn the present of her dad's wedding ring from Kim, and like, that is quite a sweet present, and I'm actually not sure if he is just doing it so that he can keep playing along, or if, like, he genuinely doesn't know anything about the plan. I'm not sure. Also, Vinny helps Kev by checking the depot CCTV, and with nothing on there, obviously, he breaks Caleb's laptop so that he can get the CCTV, and he also has admitted to Billy that it was him. So is Billy going to keep playing along with the fact that it was Joe because he's so desperate for Dawn to get away from him? I think he is. I think he's going to keep playing along with the fact that it was Joe just so that Dawn will definitely get away from him. So Charity and Ross actually have a lovely chat with each other about the fact that, like, Ross didn't really take a lot of responsibility for Layla and for what's actually happened, and Mackenzie comes in at the wrong time, catching it and being nice to each other. But then Mackenzie obviously agrees that, like, him and Ross can't go on like this for the sake of Moses, and yeah, it's just not nice. So obviously Billy goes to see Kev because he realises what he was trying to say, and he's like, was it you? And Kev basically tells him the truth. Kev tells him what's happened, how he was trying to stop Steve-O from robbing the depot, and then, like, Billy got caught in the crossfire. He tells him how Caleb and Ruby knew, everything like that. So Billy's obviously up at Caleb and Ruby, is going like, why did you not tell me? You've let me make these assumptions, you've not told me the truth. And Billy then comes to the conclusion that he's not going to go to the police about Kev being the one to have done it. and that actually him and Dawn need to get away with the kids because Dawn is still convinced that she needs to get away, and Billy plays along with it. However, Caleb now wants Billy and Dawn to wait until the wedding day, and he wants Dawn to jilt Joe at the altar. I don't know how Dawn will feel about jilting him, because I know that she wants to get away, but I think that Dawn would rather get away before the wedding day even comes, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know how she's going to feel about jilting him. Ruby and Caleb will actually stop at nothing to get what they want, and it looks like they've obviously succeeded with Jimmy, because basically Jimmy is sitting there and he's basically struggling with what to do. I feel like if he lets the haulage go, that he'll be letting down his dad and his brothers and the legacy, the kings and everything like that, so he doesn't want to let it go. But I did love the scene with Charity when Jimmy and Charity were talking to each other, and Charity was like, you kind of need to do what's best for Nicola and the kids, and if that means letting it go so that they can have a better future, then maybe that is the thing that you need to be doing. And then ultimately it lets Jimmy end up deciding that yeah, he is going to sell to Ruby and Caleb, even though it is hard for him to let them go. And also it looks like Kev is going to tell him about Ruby and Caleb, so if Kev has told Jimmy about Ruby and Caleb, I don't think Jimmy's going to be happy about it. So Dawn is desperate to just go. She doesn't want to wait. She doesn't want to be made to wait. She's like, I want to go and get away from him right this very second. And obviously Caleb doesn't want that. Caleb wants Joe to basically have the worst day of his life and have the worst time, because he's been left at the altar, she's no turned up, and it's all went wrong. That's what Caleb wants to happen. So he's doing whatever he can to make that happen. So much so that he's got Billy to basically lie and say that he's sent him on an errand, on a job, that he's had to go and pick something up, he's had to go and do something, and basically he's stuck on the road. Now, we've seen that Billy's at Caleb's, so this is not true. He's obviously not stuck on the road. But yeah, like, Caleb is desperate for Dawn to think that, so that like Joe's going to get jilted and going to get left at that altar. Well, Lucy and Lily kind of have a heart-to-heart in the cafe, and I thought that, like, when they had the heart-to-heart in Royce, that they were going to make up and actually become really good friends, until Lucy ripped that letter up. So what's that all about? And also, obviously, is Jodie actually sussing Lucy out? Because Jodie doesn't like her at all. So yeah, is Jodie maybe just sussing her out actually? Todd also gives it away that Christina has been spending again, which George is not happy with, and George is like, okay, I'm going to see my family on my own then. Todd also goes to visit Sarah, and they have a bit of a heart-to-heart, which was quite cute. But then this other prisoner, Casey, asks Sarah to help her son Brandon, who's apparently been arrested for armed robbery, and Sarah is struggling because she doesn't want to get involved, but this Casey is like, maybe your copper boyfriend could help us and everything else. So yeah, like, what is Sarah going to do? Because obviously she doesn't want to get hurt, but like, will this Casey or her friends hurt her if Sarah doesn't help? And then we obviously had Harry kicking off, and Adam had to step in. I'm glad that Adam was there to step in. He seems to listen to Adam, to be honest, especially because like he just won't listen to Kit at the minute, Harry, like, at all. So Adam offers to help with Harry with Kit struggling, and when Bethany suggests this and says, like, if you don't want to do it, you should just say Kit's not happy about it. So I think Adam is going to have to end up taking Harry, because like Kit can't do this on his own. So we think Idris and Alia strike up the deal, but then Idris is hosting this poker party to try and get the rest of the money for Alia. I can't see this ending well, and I don't think that Leanne's going to like it either. So obviously Sarah asks Kit to do the job for that Casey and everything, so that like it will, like, Casey would be off her back, and it backfires because obviously Kit says no, and then Sarah's ended up hurt. Kind of seen that coming. I knew that Casey was going to do something to her if she didn't get Kit to do this. Also, Adam is going to keep Harry for the rest of school holidays, and I do think that's a good idea. So, brand new mystery woman alert. So what does she want? Obviously, she was talking to Todd about doing this funeral for a close friend of hers and everything like that. She was also at Devon Bernie's, so yeah, she's intriguing. I wonder who she is, because we don't actually know properly who she is yet. I actually hate that Kit ended up turning Brodie down, to be honest. Like, Brodie obviously went to Kit wanting to stay with him so that Lucy could keep staying with Sally and Tim. And then obviously Idris's big poker night happens, and basically he's got Brodie working it, he's got Lauren working it, he's got Ollie playing the game and everything like that. So he's got all that going on, right? Because he's trying to get the money to absolutely be able to buy speed dial off Alia, especially when Alia says that she's had another offer for the business and she wants to be sure that Idris can actually have the money. So he uses the loan that he's got from Leanne to come play this game. He's got Ollie on it, and basically Ollie ends up winning the game, so it all goes in Idris's favour. But Kit even gets involved in the game. Kit loses, Ollie ends up winning, it goes in Idris's favour. But what Idris isn't then happy about is that Leanne comes to see where he's at, and Idris acts all alright and everything. And then Brodie pipes up and goes, like, Brodie's a bit drunk and he's having a bit of a laugh, and he pipes up and says that this poker game has happened. And Leanne doesn't like it, obviously. And yep, Idris ends up threatening Brodie. Idris is definitely a baddie. He's the type of person that will do anything at all to get what he wants, no matter what the consequences are. So this mystery person is called Celeste. Honestly, there is still something about her. Obviously, she was asking Todd, she's admitted that she's the one that is dying, and actually she's trying to organise her own funeral. So yeah, and also Fraser that was with her, Glenda likes him. Well, it's a bit rich, isn't it? Richie asking Tim to basically lie for him and back his story up. I'm not sure what to believe with Richie. I don't know if I believe he was doing it in self-defence, or if I don't, I'm actually not sure. So much so that Richie was getting a little bit angry at Tim, and obviously Ross had to step in. Well, Leanne is obviously still not happy with Idris, but she gets a bit happier when he finally makes the deal with Alia. The only thing that she wants is that Leanne wants 51%, and she's going to give him 49%. So Leanne will be like the big boss, basically, which is fine. And then a little bit later on, they're obviously all celebrating the boys' results and everything like that. And they also tell everybody that obviously they've got the restaurant, and just has made a deal, all of that, which is dead cute. Now, Fiona that was at the poker game is not so cute. Obviously, it's the Fiona that we all know, and she's bumped into Ronnie, and she said to Ronnie that basically she wants him to pay for the gun that was missing because Idris has done this to her with this poker game. So yeah, Fiona's going to be causing a few problems, as she has already been. And I just know that Leanne will hate it, because she specifically said that she didn't want any repercussions coming from this poker game. Well, Nick said that he doesn't like Idris. Honestly, is Nick going to be watching carefully? Because I'm thinking, what if Nick's the one that finds him out and finds out that he's up to something, and he's the one that has to then break this news to Leanne and Sam, because obviously Sam really likes Idris as well. So yeah. Nina gets the job in Whitby. Obviously she was actually nervous that she wasn't going to get it, but she does. So yeah, Nina's going to be gone for a bit, but honestly she deserves it. When you think about the things that she's been through so much that she deserves to just go and do something that she's going to love. Joni and Shanice came home, but it was actually so cute, that scene between Tim and Lucy, seeing that she's starting to get comfortable with him, which was actually really cute. I just love that Sally and Tim have taken the kids on and gave them a life that they could only have wished for, and it's just so cute. Todd is basically trying to self-destruct everything, and honestly it's actually quite bad, because basically Celeste comes back talking to Todd again, and basically she ends up saying that Fraser's actually gay, which is cool, it's fine, but I'm like, it makes it so difficult, because then Todd obviously has a bit of an argument with Glenda, because Glenda's phoned George and she's basically just looking out for him, and like, so Todd doesn't like that, and then he ends up gone with Fraser. He sleeps with him, he does what he shouldn't do, even though he knows that Glenda really likes him and everything like that. And I'm like, he's just been quite vile to everybody, to be honest. And while I do understand that he's had a hard time, but he does need to be vile to everyone. And also I love the fact that Summer gave him a telling to, because he actually needed talking to, and I feel like maybe he will realise that being in this self-destruct mode that is not helping anything.